A note from Dad. You're becoming an adult and leaving home soon. You're going to be making decisions on your own, and the decisions you make can affect your success or failure in life. As you go off to college, your philosophy professor may ask the following question, and you will need an answer. What is life? Here are 3 one-liner answers. The first answer is, life is anything that grows and eventually dies because death occurs only to the living. The second answer, life is an awareness of self and your surroundings. And the third answer is, there are many forms of life in that there is plant life, animal life, and human life. Biology, chemistry, psychology, sociology, and theology all play a role in life. The question is, what do these areas reveal about life? In biology and chemistry, we find the physical parts of life in the body. In psychology and sociology, we find the immaterial parts of life in the soul. In theology, we find both elements, body and soul. Scientists and psychologists observe life as it appears on Earth. They document and collect data on the existence of life and why people act the way they do. Yet, there is a philosophical question. Where did life come from? In theology, we're given an insight into the origin of life. In Genesis 1:1, it says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and earth." The Bible tells us that man was created by design in Genesis 1:26, where it says, "Then God said, 'Let us make a man, someone like ourselves, to be the master of all life upon the earth, and in the skies, and in the seas.'" In the next chapter of Genesis, in verse 7, we read, "Then the Lord God formed a man from the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living being." We find that God first formed the man's body from the dust of the earth. It was without life until God breathed the breath of life into it. We see in the first 2 chapters of the Bible that the origin of life comes from God. Psalm 139:16 tells us, "You saw me before I was born, and scheduled every day of my life before I began to breathe. Every day was recorded in your book." Then in Proverbs 29:18 we're told, "Where there is no vision, the people perish, but he that keeps the law, happy is he." Each of us dream and make plans for our future. Don't let them slip away. We must work hard to see our plans and our dreams come true. Now in Proverbs 3, verse 21, it tells us, "Have 2 goals, wisdom, that is, knowing and doing right, and common sense. To make the most of the opportunities, we must not forget to include God in our plans, because we're one of His creations. We're reminded in Proverbs 1, verse 7, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction." There are 6 other verses in Proverbs that have the words fear of the Lord in them. And they are Proverbs 2, verse 5, Proverbs 9, verse 10, Proverbs 10, verse 27, Proverbs 14, verse 27, Proverbs 15, verse 16, and Proverbs 16, verse 6. The future lies before you. Psalms 1:1 tells us that there are 2 roads that you can take. Follow God or follow the money. We're reminded of this again in Matthew 6:24, where it says, "No one can serve 2 masters, for you will hate one and love the other. You will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and be enslaved to money." Now, you're just starting out on your walk through life. The road that you choose will determine your success or failure in life. As you walk through life, you need to do what Proverbs 3, verses 5 and 6 tells you. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek His will in all you do, and He will show you which path to take. When one experiences a heart attack, as you know I did, one quickly realizes that you're not in control of your life. God is. Do you remember the one-liner that says, "Death occurs only to the living"? Well, Psalm 146, verse 4 tells us, "For every man must die. His breathing stops. Life ends. And in a moment, all he planned for himself is ended." Psalm 90, verse 10 tells us, 70 years are given us, and some may even live to 80. But even the best of these years are often empty and filled with pain. Soon they disappear, and we are gone. At your age, your life is ahead of you. You have a bright future. Time is on your side. You're not thinking about death. Time waits for no one. You can only spend it. So, spend it wisely. As you go through life, the future lies before you. You've been given the opportunity to make a difference in this world by following God's instructions. Remember the 2 goals in Proverbs 3:21, wisdom and common sense? Love you, Dad.